Hey everyone. Today we're joined by AkiyaMart consultant Jay Horta, who's really been through it all: mold problems, high renovation bills, and a tricky van registration process. We talked to Jay about budgeting, planning, and why smaller towns could offer a warmer welcome than some of these bigger cities. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Buying a House in Japan podcast. We got a special episode for you coming today. Today, joined by my co-host Jay Stocks Rocky, as well as Jay Horta. Jay is one of our AkiyaMart consultants. He has joined the team a couple months ago. Jay, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been you've been working with us for what, the past 3-4 months?
It's been about 4 months. Time flies.
Okay.
Done a
How
lot of
many
consults.
consultations have you done since you started working with us?
It's gotta be close to like 30, 40, maybe plus.
I think you've done
I
like
bet
100.
I
Feels
think
like.
it's more than that. I think
it's
like
probably
100
been
too.
more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a little bit more like,
Conservative.
Yeah.
underestimate a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
It's gotta be more than that. It's probably close to
So,
100. You're right.
Jay, you're also owner of two homes in Japan, and I heard a van that's not registered in your name,
Oh,
but
no.
you own it.
So like I think there's a couple scenarios you can be in and the one I'm in is the least that you want to be in. Like you want to be the situation I'm in is the one you want to be in the least. I do own two homes, although I would say one of those is probably less of a home. Um, I bought a project Akiya, which I think a lot of people dream of owning. They're like, "Oh, cheap houses." It comes with problems, and I don't think you really know those problems until you get in there and you're like, "Wow, what did I get myself into?"
Because you basically had to abandon that first house project. Is that correct, or where did we leave off
Um,
last time we spoke about
yeah,
that?
I did not abandon it. We're not there yet. I don't think
Okay,
that will be the case.
there's
But
hope.
yeah, there's hope. I think there is hope, expensive hope, but I come from a background of construction, very much DIY, whether it's cars or homes. I own a construction company, right? And so I'm very confident in my ability to do things. That being said, I don't care how confident you are. I always tell people fixing things is not about your knowledge, it's about your time, right? You can always learn how to swing a hammer, you can learn how to build something, but you can only buy so much of your time, right? Whether that's how long do you have in Japan? Do you want to spend it enjoying Japan or do you want to spend it fixing a home? So that's the problem we're running into is the time. You can
Yeah.
pay somebody to do it and save your time, but it costs you a lot of money. And so that's where
Yeah.
we kind of ran into issues is I didn't have enough time, definitely don't have enough money. So what we've learned over the years is it's a lot more wise to spend as much money as you can up front to get the best condition you can. Because
Speaking of
yeah,
time, Jay, want to rewind the clock. I know we just jumped straight in here. So as I mentioned, Jay is one of our AkiyaMart consultants. If you do book a call with us, there's a 50% chance it's going to be Jay on the other side of the line. Before, again, jumping too far into it, Jay, who are you? Where do you live? And how did you get to this position you are right now?
yeah, good question. So I live in Austin, Texas. Beautiful, hot Austin, Texas.
How hot
And I
is it
love
right
it here.
now?
I love the nature. It's like the only place I feel like in the country I would live in because it's got a mix of big cities. But if you haven't been to Austin, it's weird. It's like you could be in the middle of the city and there's this place we have called Zilker Park, and you can be in like a forest. There's trails that you wouldn't even know you're in a city. So that's the city I live in. I own a construction company. And I have a crazy friend named Eric that a lot of you might know. And Eric and I have done business together in the US, and he grew up in Japan for 20 years. He's the one that got me into Japan. And so just being a DIY person, and I've always loved the culture, I just never had the courage to go out on my own and buy an Akiya. And so meeting Eric, eventually when someone's annoying enough, you finally give in. And yeah, I broke and I bought it, and it's honestly, I feel like the best decision I could have made. We have a baby on the way. Um,
Congrats.
yeah, that's something that nobody knows until now. Um,
It's going out to the podcast community now, Jay.
Oh,
yeah,
heard it here first.
yeah, yeah, AkiyaMart exclusive. And so I've watched a lot of people that have raised families in Japan and have come from America and said that's the best thing they ever did. And they're 40, 50 years old and they've been in Japan for 20 years or even have just moved there over the past couple years. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it was a bad decision. I've only heard good things. And not to say that nobody has bad experiences. But yeah, I think it's the best decision I could have made and we're going to move there full time in a year and a half.
How did
Let's
Eric
go.
convince you? Like, I mean, obviously you had some interest in Japan before. Did you go on a
For
trip with
sure.
him, or like, what was your prior experience to Japan before Eric maybe peer
Yeah.
pressured you into buying an Akiya?
So I have a friend that actually also lives in Taiwan, and I've always loved Asian culture and just the respect and the I don't know, maybe I'm off on this. Whenever I tell people I feel like anything about that, they always say I'm wrong. And so I feel like there is a love for other people there and a passion for other people and more selflessness. The people are kinder and yeah, so I've always wanted to buy a house in a country that just has better culture, I feel like. And the best thing I could afford was not Taiwan, but possibly Puerto Rico. I'm Mexican or Hispanic, and so that was the closest thing, but you still have a lot of American values of greed and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going too much off the rails, but I don't know, I've just always loved the culture. And so I was already on the edge of buying something, and I feel like he just eventually convinced me. And it's always easier when you do it with somebody. It's
Definitely. Yeah.
definitely been a game changer knowing that Eric's doing 99% of the work and I just have to watch. But no, he's helped figure out a lot of stuff and so have I. But yeah, he's just kind of yeah, figured out some of those things and laid out plans and been like, "Hey, here's the idea of what we're going to do and I already know this and that." He's kind of made that easier.
I'm amazed with yours and Eric's scrappiness in Japan. You guys are getting stuff done over there,
Yeah.
and don't take this as an insult, but like I don't think your Japanese language ability is
Oh
like
no.
probably not even conversational. I would guess,
No,
right?
no,
But like
definitely not. No.
you're getting quotes from contractors, you're getting
Oh
appliances
yeah.
delivered, like you're really making it
Yeah.
work, which I do think is I'm very impressed with the
Yeah.
amount of stuff that you guys are getting done without that language ability.
I feel like Eric and I are both crazy. Like we I feel like it takes a crazy person to do these things and not in a bad way. Like I'm crazy in a bad way, but like very conversational, very love people. And we have a lot of friends now. I can tell you right now. We have a lot of friends that like message me on Instagram, car people, construction people. Like we've gone out and we've met a lot. And I feel like we've made what possibly could have taken years, of going there and or other people years, we've done in even the first month we were there. We've met
Yeah.
nonstop, just met a
I
bunch of
think that's
people.
a huge asset you guys have is that friendliness and like ability to kind of make friends with
Yeah, and just laugh,
whoever. Yeah.
say a little bit like we do know some Japanese words, I go in kyutoki is like water heater. So I'll be like
Yeah.
kyutoki, and I always go to the same
Nailed
musashi.
it.
And it's always like, the same person there. Actually, they did Eric's install on his shower room. So I walk in, I just go Kyutoki, and they're like,
Nice.
"Oh," and so they show me where the water heaters are. But yeah, and then as you make friends, it just becomes easier. I will admit I have been bad about my Japanese studying. It's probably been minimal 15, 20 minutes a day. And so I'm getting where I can get around a little bit, but it's definitely not where if somebody responds to me, I understand. So I feel like you have to have a good smile and a good attitude. And even when you feel lost, you just have to keep that smile on your face and know that, people will come along and be kind.
It goes a long way. I think, like, yeah, Eric's always texting us like, "Hey, I just met this awesome gas guy," or "Hey, I just met
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you know,
Had
like
barbecue with like my
butcher
gas
guy."
guy.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, Eric,
Yeah.
we like joke with Eric, like, "Eric, you should just run for mayor, man. Like Tera Domati or something like that. Eric Domati is what we joke with him."
Yeah.
Um, but Jay, let's talk about your first Akiya. So I know,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you buy? Where is it? How much did it cost? What? Give us the
Yeah.
lowdown.
Yeah, so, My first Akiya is in a tiny little town called Bunsui. It's a little branch off of Subame Sanjo area, which has about 80 to 90,000 people. I make videos online and I get roasted that it's in the middle of nowhere, but people just, if they assume that Tokyo or Osaka or whatever, it's like if it's not there, it's middle of nowhere, countryside. But there's these beautiful towns with 100,000 people. They'll have everything you need within a 3-minute drive, sometimes a walk. Yeah, Bunsui is great. I'm a 3-minute walk from the train station there.
How far from
And
Tokyo, or like where in Japan for someone who
okay,
doesn't understand
yeah,
Japan?
if you land in Haneda Airport, you can get there in the small amount of time of about 4 hours.
Ooh.
Now, to be fair, when you land in the airport, it probably takes you about 2.5 to 3 hours to get into Tokyo, anyways, right?
Yep, yep.
Depending on where you're going. So if I was to get on a Shinkansen and go to Tokyo, it'd be like an hour, 50 minutes or so, maybe 2 hours. It is on the other side of the country, right? Laterally. But yeah, it's a perfect place for me. And I think there's a lot of value in towns like that.
This is Niigata, right? Just to
This
double
is, oh,
check.
yes, this is Niigata Prefecture. So it's on the west side of the
Bunsui.
island. Yeah, you got to look that up.
Yeah, I'm
I,
looking it
I,
up.
I tell people, I mean, I'm biased and that's what I mostly know, but I say that's, where you want to be.
So what type of work have you been doing on it? I've seen pictures you've sent, like the whole floor has been ripped up, and like, so what kind of work have you been doing on it?
Yeah. So on that specific property, here's the thing. I think I didn't do, I think I got too excited. And I think a lot of people do, right? They think a property is going to get sold and not another one's going to come along. And it's an expensive lesson to learn,
Rookie
but you have
mistake,
to be
yeah.
patient. Yeah. It's not a big deal. When I showed Eric, we were kind of like, it's a 3-minute walk from the train station. Worst case is we unfortunately have to knock the building down for about 12,000 US. We already got a quote, and we use it as a parking spot because we live far from the train station, like a 30-minute drive. So instead of taking a taxi, you could just go there and drive. So we'd use it as a parking spot. That being said, I had very high hopes to renovate it. When I got there, it was infested with mold that
No.
I didn't realize. It had siding that was broken on the side that I didn't realize, and that's my own optimism to fix it. Right? I saw these things and I was like, "Oh, it's an easy fix. It's this and that." But I'm starting to learn that when you have a house that's 40 years old, you can't really match the siding. So now you got to do the entire house. The
They don't
mold
sell it
thing,
anymore, whatever was siding
yeah,
it
like
was.
the same pattern or whatever it may be. So you have to reside the whole house. Well, my neighbor's a foot from me. So I got to put scaffolding up to reach the second story. I can't just put ladders up. If it was the US or if it was anywhere, if this house was anywhere else where I had more than 5 feet of room between me and my neighbor, I could definitely do it myself. But now you talk about scaffolding. I can't just get scaffolding put up. My road in front of my house is like 3 feet wide.
Hmm.
So you got to probably get permits and do all sorts of stuff. Well, now you got to pay people to do it. So I got a quote. It was $25,000, and
Mm.
so
To redo the siding.
to redo the siding. Now I'm trying to patch it and do other things. Now you guys had mentioned this, and I thought it was a great idea. Was trying to get like a zestimate, right, on what the houses are worth around it.
Hmm.
There's a killer house next to mine that just it looks insanely beautiful. And I'm like, well, if I put 23,000 in the siding and I renovated the inside myself and put maybe 40,000 in the property, would it be worth $40,000 at least? Right?
Mhm.
And so that's the internal battle I think that I'm having is like, is it going to be worth the money when it's all said and done? And then when I ran into that was, well, if you drive 30 minutes south to Kashiwazaki and you're along the coast, I found a property that was listed for sale for 32,000. And then I ended up with my second property. So it's sometimes you'll have these battles. Well, if I'm going to put that much into it, it just makes sense to get something that's in better condition. So sometimes it's
Mhm.
better to put more money up front. I was being cheap and I was being overly optimistic. And not to say that it can't be done, but again, going back to it takes a lot of time.
How much was that first property, and like how give us the specs on it? How much was it? How big was it? And what year was it built in?
For sure. It was built in 1981. It's a surprisingly like a 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four, five. It's a 5-room property. It's
Hmm.
got one bathroom, one toilet room, one shower room. It's got no yard, and it was listed for 2,500 US,
Ooh, okay.
which is like cool. Of course, there's other fixed costs that come along with that. On top of that, you're
What is
like,
yeah,
Yeah.
$2,500, pretty good.
yeah. And so I think it was a risk that was whatever. You take it as an adventure. And
Hmm.
I'm getting into YouTube videos and stuff now. So for me, it's like a content machine that I'm hopefully going to start running soon.
Yep.
And so that's what I find more value. And I find passion in working on things.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
you bought this a
Talking
while ago, right? And so I'm curious, how did you find it? And did you see it in person or did you do the viewing remotely? I think Yoshi was your agent, right?
Yeah. And I did the viewing remotely. We subbed out another agent or another person. They showed me the inside and he did say, like, oh, this is kind of weird. And this is so they gave me the warning signs, which,
Okay. And did you just find it
you don't know.
on one of the
Yeah.
Akia banks or?
It was on AkiyaMart. Yeah. It
Oh,
was
here we
listed on
okay,
go.
let's
AkiyaMart.
go.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
so I found it on AkiyaMart, and I mean the location is just awesome. But yeah, Yoshi
Yeah.
C was my agent, and
Yeah, Taki and I talk about that. Like, I think some of our properties too. Like, I think initially when you're just getting into the market and you're buying your first property, it's going to be a B or a C grade property. It is really hard to know. Like for example, our Beppu property. There's some different neighborhoods I would probably choose a second time around if we were buying in Beppu, or finding a nicer neighborhood. Or what we also advice we give people is if you're going to if you're going to buy a $40,000 house and then put 40K budget in renovation, you might as well just buy an 80K house as well. So like, there's definitely things that we would do differently a second time around, but just to get boots on ground and get your first house, like a B grade property is great.
yeah, I agree. It is definitely it has taught me a lot, and I think everybody should see their own risks, right? Like if you're spending your last dollar, try not to do something like that. I think it's not going to turn out the way you think it is. Save up some more money, wait a year or two, and buy something a little bit better because you again if you buy a property for 20,000 and put another 20 or 30 into it, what could you have got for $50,000? Probably something that's way better, or it would have been in that same condition but possibly 30,000. So sometimes it's worth
Here-
waiting.
All right, I teased it at the start, but can we hear the van story? What's going on with the van?
Okay, so
No, Jay.
this is a I don't know how open I can be about this.
The saga.
Don't say the name.
um
Use a different name for the person, maybe.
okay. um you would think it's harder to buy a home than it is to buy a car. And I can tell you right now, if you want a car in Japan, it is not going to go as smooth as you think it is. Now, as you guys know, Eric and I are working on processes to make it smooth for everybody. But with that comes our own losses. So I bought a van. I'm a K van lover, or I'm a van lover in general, because I like to travel the country or do whatever and sleep in the back of my van or vehicle. That's just the way I am. I don't like paying for hotels because I'm stingy. I bought a K van and used a service of somebody who promised me that they could get the van in my name. I wired them a beautiful, very small number of 5,000 US, which, who
More than
doesn't
your
love?
house.
Yeah, who doesn't love just throwing $5,000 in the garbage?
Into the
Um,
ether. Yeah, sending
yeah,
it to a random person you met online.
for sure. I could have done a quarter of my siding.
Hey, had you
Um,
met this person in IRL before or no?
he's actually helped us. He was in the process of helping us with some other things. We probably should have seen how those things went. We were very optimistic. And so we threw this project on them and they're like, "Hey, no problem. We'll do it. We'll do it great. We know how to do it." And so we went with him and it's kind of Eric. I don't know who Eric went with, but he also had a similar, I guess, experience, but he ended up with a car in the end, with a title. I guess I ended up with a car without the title, but his experience was very much like 4 months. I don't even know if my car exists. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I guess it was more like lack of communication on the company's end. Like, they didn't set the expectations, which is fine, however long it took, if that's how long it takes. But on our on when I got my van, I was told that it would be quick, easy, simple. We already learned from Eric's experience and what he needed, but I essentially got ghosted, I guess. I got the van, and they were supposed to
Hey, you got
sign
the
the
van.
title over. Yeah, I'm riding dirty right now. I got a van with no title, and they were supposed to sign the title over, and it was just taking months. They'd give me excuse after excuse. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to meet you at this place, and we're going to sign the title over. And it just wasn't working out. And it might be my fault because at the end I kind of broke. Here's my problem. I'm a very forgiving and patient person. So I let it go on for months and months. And at the end, I mean, I think I handled it okay. I was basically like, hey, either give me the 4, 5, 6,000, whatever it was, the multi thousands dollars I gave you, and take the van back because it's already in your name. They had bought it, put it under their name, and we're going to transfer it to mine. I said, either buy the van back from me or do the damn, sorry, or do the title.
Yeah.
I never heard from him again. So,
It,
um,
it's
yeah,
crazy to think you think like there is that impression that Japanese are so trustworthy and like it's this society works a lot on trust there, but
yeah,
there are some scammers out there.
yeah. I think and there was signs I think beforehand, and we kind of ignored them, and we're like, what are the chances this happens? Probably not. But
Do you
yeah,
think this
that's
person is a scammer or just that they have a complicated other life and that other complicated part just kind of took over?
it's hard to not say they're a scammer because I sent that text, didn't hear from back from them again. Actually, I had our agent, Yoshichisani-san, reach out to them. And he also didn't hear back from this individual, and they've talked in the past. So he didn't answer them. Eric reached out to them, didn't respond. And Eric had them do another project that did not go smoothly at all. It was supposed to be a 1 week affair, emptying trash out of his home, and it turned into like,
Oh, same person,
like,
huh?
yeah, yeah. Okay. If
Oh,
you guys
okay.
didn't know that, yes, it's the same person.
Now connecting the dots. Okay.
So that person took like what, 4 or 5 months. I don't even think they ever finished taking the trash out. And he also paid like $5,000 to get the trash emptied out of his house. And it was like, it's going to be done next week. And then a guy would show up and take like a
A
tansu
little
out.
bit.
Yeah. And it's like a whole house of stuff. At the end of the day, they ended up making like 20 trips, and they'd only fill up. They'd take a box truck. They only put like 3 things in it and they'd leave. I think just to create the illusion. And he paid them up front, you
Oh
know?
no.
So
Moral of the
same person.
story, cannot trust everyone in Japan, even though it is a very trustworthy society, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And I wouldn't put a bad name on the culture because of this person. I think this person is very actually Americanized. He lived in Detroit for a long time,
Okay.
even though he's Japanese, or it was something like that, some big city that you're known to get scammed. And so I'm like, sometimes it rubs off on you. But
Detroit. Got it.
Do you have insurance on the car, or like what's the deal? You just have the title. I mean, what you're just driving
yeah,
this car that you don't own, or
I don't own it, and I would not condone. I would not suggest anybody to do this, right? And I would definitely not suggest anybody to do what I'm about to say, but I was like, I got the van and there's speed cameras in Japan. So I'm like, I might just have an autobahn on the tollway, you know?
no, don't do it. Okay.
I'm like, those cameras are going to send the ticket to somebody. But no, maybe that's not a good idea.
Bad
Maybe
idea.
Oh
we
no,
Bad
should
yeah,
idea.
actually just cut that
especially
out.
if you're trying to apply for a visa. Yeah, I
But
would
I'm
I
like,
would play it
I
clean.
just, how could I get this person to contact me? To be like, oh, all right, you win. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get this van out of my name. What do I get? Like, just park it somewhere and get parking tickets like crazy?
Yeah. All
Um,
right. Switching gears a little bit. What
yeah.
what advice would you give somebody starting out on this journey? If someone is coming to you, what advice are you giving your consults to someone? Say yourself. You see yourself in a consult. What kind of
What
advice do you give?
for somebody to buy a vehicle
No, no, no.
or just in
Buy a
general?
house in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would say if anybody's gonna buy a house, if you if you can wait and save up as much money as you can to pay more upfront, because it's not going to be as cheap as you think it is to fix it, and it's not going to be as fast as you think as it is to fix it, even if you do it yourself. That would be my biggest advice. And
There's no diamonds in the rough in the $3,000 range, you
there's
think?
not. There's not. I mean, I do so many consults and people send me properties and they're like, it's it's only need a couple things. And I'm just like, that it's got a tile bathroom. Tile's really expensive because you gotta have somebody go and like jackhammer out all the tile because it's really stuck to that concrete. And then, they still gotta put a new restroom.
What
So
price range
people
would
really
you say
downplay it.
people should save up to? Is it like the 30, the 50, in your opinion, how
Okay.
much should they save before they start
So
pursuing?
I live in a less common area. It's not Tokyo. It's not where houses are $50,000, 60 starting off. Kashiwazaki. That house was listed for $26,000, and sorry, it was listed for 32,
Mhm.
and we negotiated down to 26. It was built in 2008. It's got brand new siding. It was renovated
You
in
have
Oh,
a
that's
2020.
great.
2008 house? Really?
That's
2008.
great.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So if you haven't
Okay.
seen that, I put a tour on YouTube. Actually, funny
Okay.
enough, we filmed the tour not knowing that I was gonna buy it, and then I'd
Wow.
already filmed an intro like, "We're gonna tour this random house," and then at the end, I filmed a new intro that was like, "This is my house," because I was like, "I'm buying it." But yeah, we negotiated down to 27 because it had trash and some stuff. Um, but yeah, it's on like I don't even know, maybe like a half an acre or so.
Pretty
It's
big
got a
still.
three-car garage. Yeah, it's got a lot
Yeah,
of
right.
land. And
Okay.
I got a straight through property. Like I got two major roads in the front and back, and you can drive straight through my entire property. But yeah,
That's
it was
kinda
built in
sweet. I like
2008.
that.
Yeah. And I'm a car guy, so I'm like, pull up, and then you can drive out the other way. Or if you got,
Yeah.
I want to buy jet skis or a boat or something. So it's like when you pull into your lot, you can just pull out the other way. Um, yeah, anyways, it was built in 2008. It was renovated in 2020. It's got brand new siding. It's got a metal
What?
roof, so it's going to last a while. That one
So
truly. Go ahead.
no, no, finish what you're gonna say.
I was going to say that home truly does not need any work done. I think I've
Wow.
seen enough properties at this point to understand what does and doesn't need work. It's got a system bath. Like that's a big thing. If you have a system bath, if you ever want to update it, that's easy peasy
What's
versus a
the
Mhm.
system
tile.
bath? Is that just the
Unit
the
shower.
Plastic
unit?
panels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, like, the plastic panels that it's very modular and they just cut the plastic panels and kinda stick them to the
Yep. Yep.
wall.
Hmm.
That's a lot easier to get replaced than a tile restroom or shower. People don't realize that trash is really hard to get rid of, and tile is on the top of that list.
So,
Yeah.
so given going back to Take's question, someone comes in a consult and they want not Tokyo, not Osaka, but like somewhere else, city or town, 100,000 people, kind of similar situation as you. What's a serious budget?
For sure.
$50,000?
I got lucky with that 26,000. I think an out the door budget, like $50,000. And that's
Yep.
pretty much like your cost. Obviously, not if you have to make changes or renovate the house. That's like your closing costs and all that involved. I'd say $50,000 is going to get you something pretty nice. I've seen a lot of properties in Kashiwazaki, Subame area that are 50,000 and they're nice. They're very nice properties. And they come and go. Sometimes they're not available, but if you wait long enough, you'll see them come and go. 50,000, very nice.
Quick plug for our AkiyaMart Direct program. We can help people buy, and actually, one thing that Joey pulled some data. We've helped about 100 people across the finish line, and I think most people come into these consultations looking for the $20,000 to $30,000. But funny enough, by the time they do purchase, I think the average purchase price is closer to 80. I'd say, like, I'm not sure if it's the agent guiding them, but also like you come into this whole, hey, I'm going to buy an Akia with looking at something 20K, but then maybe you see something 60K that's turnkey. So I do say I agree with you. That 50K budget, I agree, is like a good starting point. If you're going much lower than that, you got to be the DIY and have that time, as you mentioned, which is the limited resource. But yeah, Joey, what do you think? 50K? Does that sound about right to start?
I think 50K too, based on what I'm seeing as well. I think lower than that, and it's kind of yeah, especially when you think like you got to buy furniture, like all that kind
Hmm.
of stuff adds up too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with
it's
the 50K.
anything less than that's pretty risky, I feel like, in the sense of you don't know what it takes to renovate it.
Jay, what's the story of how, like someone selling their 2008 house that was renovated in 2020. What's the story behind that house? Like, is it a vacation home or, you know?
You're saying the story behind the person that sold it or for
Yeah.
me?
But
I
let's say the person, but previous owner. I'm just curious. Do you have info on that?
I don't, and it's pretty unfortunate. I would like to meet the previous owner. I unfortunately think that their parent had passed away, and that's
Mm,
how they inherited the property. It's your common case of how somebody ends up with an IKEA,
hmm
I feel
hmm
like. But yeah, I haven't met them yet. They did give me a free piece of land that
What?
we're actually working on closing.
Wait,
They
what?
gave me a like 1,500 or 2,000 square foot piece of land right
What?
next to my property.
Oh,
That wasn't even
bonus.
part of my property when I first
Guys,
bought it.
you gotta be friendly out there. You gotta go
Yeah,
to barbecue with your
yeah,
gas guy, like, all that's how you
for
get these
sure.
free properties.
Hold on, actually, I it wasn't free. I paid like 10,000 yen,
Okay,
but
close to free.
it was close to free, as close to
Ten
free
thousand
as you can get
60 bucks.
2,000 square feet or something. Yeah, it was not that bad. It was $60 for a piece of land. I think they just didn't want to deal with it, and they had already sold me the property, and they're like, "I'm just going to give this guy." But yeah,
Mhm.
we want to move there full time. I guess the story behind why we bought it. Funny enough, we had always said we were going to wait to buy a bigger piece of property till we had a kid because we wanted land, but your place set and have your dog and do whatever. And so I saw that property go up for sale. Actually, been up for sale for a while, and on a whim, I was just like, "Let me go look at it," because the siding's going to cost me X amount, and I still got to renovate the inside of this other house. Why not go look at this other property? Ended up buying it, and funny enough, I guess as karma would have it, I mean, not in a bad way, but when I bought the property, we found out that we were having a baby. So kind of a good thing that happened. But yeah, so
Ho
now we're trying to move there full time.
Whoo! How's your wife feel about all this? Is this a you driving? Is this a mutual thing? Is it Eric pulling both you guys along? Like, what explain that dynamic.
So I think a lot of people that look into to Japan. Sorry, let me say that again. I think a lot of people that look into Japan do know this, that statistically they are like 300 times, not percent, times. So 30,000% safer in any statistic that comes with any type of violence, right? Whether it's having your car broken into or assaulted or whatever, you are 300 times safer. Okay, let me put it the other way. You're 300 times more likely to have something bad happen to you in the US.
Oh,
So
no.
safety is like a big thing in Japan.
Yeah.
So having a partner and just living a life and wanting kids to be in Japan is a big sales, I guess, driver for me when I was talking to her about it, as well as the food and the culture. So she was not very happy when I had
Oh,
said I
no.
wanted to move there full time. And I'm going to tell you right now, she went for about, we went for 2 months and she said, "I'm going to see how this goes. And I'm going to tell you what I think if we're going to move here or not." And it was a very strong tension between us because I wanted to go and she didn't want to. She was there 1 week and she said, "When are we packing our bags?"
Whoo! Let's
Oh.
Um,
go.
so
Yeah, I got
yeah. Yeah, so those of you who want to move to Japan, I think safety is a big thing. And that's where you hear like people with kids that I mentioned earlier. It was like, how can you deny that safety when you have children's or wives? I mean, she went for a hike the other day here in Texas, and I didn't hear from her for like 30 minutes and completely slipped my mind that she was gone. I panicked because I
Oh,
called her
no.
and she didn't answer, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened to her? Did something happen? Her location wasn't updating." I was about to get in my truck and leave, so I'm going in my truck. Her car's in the driveway. She was in the shower.
Oh, no.
But I think there's also like a peace of mind, I think, when you're there, is knowing that it's safe for your family. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, especially for kids. It's, like, so cool to see kids with their, like, little yellow hats just, like, taking the train
Yeah,
themselves and
yeah,
stuff, and,
yeah.
like, I think the daycares are subsidized or free or completely covered by the government for
Oh
some
my
ages at this point, which
gosh.
is, like, such a
I
big
know.
cost in the US, right?
It is. It's like $1,300 a month or $1,000 a month US here, which is like some people barely make not even
Yeah.
half or sorry, their income is only enough to barely cover that sometimes. So it is kind of sad to see, here in the States how expensive it is.
Hey, there you're blazing the path here. It's an option. I think you're going to be the first of our peer group here who have bought these Akiyas to bring a kid over. So
Yeah.
you'll let us know how it goes. But I'm curious. So what again? What's your timeline again? You said you're going to have the kid, wait a
Yeah,
little bit, and then move there, or
for sure. And that actually pushed our timeline sooner. We were looking at like 3 to
oh,
4 years to move.
hmm
Of course, Eric, I don't know if I've mentioned this, we have a company called Japan Unlocked. Eric was really pushing for me to move within the next year or so, and I said, "No, we're gonna wait 4 years." Yeah, so having a baby pushed that to next winter. So about a year and a half
next
from now,
winter.
that's our
Okay.
timeline. About one year and a couple months. Hopefully, fingers crossed that happens.
Okay, so you'll have a house, you'll have a kid, you guys are moving to Kashiwazaki. What's the visa situation? You mentioned a company, like kind of what's that path look like? I know there's been a couple new announcement on the business manager visa. Like what's your general plan to get
Yeah.
to Japan with your wife and kid?
Yeah, so funny enough, in consults, I get a lot of visa questions, and I'm like, I'm not a visa specialist, so you always gotta
Hmm
fact check whatever I say. A lot of people have this dream of having a business visa. It is not easy. One, it is financially very heavy upfront. At least I think like 30 or $40,000 just to have in your bank account to start. And then you got to pay a visa specialist, which is another 7 to 10,000 possibly. You have to open a bank account. Well, you have to have these long interviews with them because they might not even let you bank with them. So you got to do that over and over and over again. When you bank with them, they want to audit you. So business visas are very difficult to get. That being said, we are lucky to have one, and hopefully, so Eric has our business visa, and I'm hoping to jump on that. Now, that being said, the plan that I usually give most people is start a student visa or go on a student visa. And that requires you to have a savings of, I think, a little over $10,000 in your bank account. If you don't have that in your bank account, you can have your parents or a relative write a letter saying that they're your like backing, and they can have the money on your behalf. So that's our plan, is to get a student visa, and that lasts about a year or two. I have my wife do that, and then that gives us a timeline to either get a work visa or get on Eric's business visa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know it's extremely complicated. I think long story short, you gotta work with a professional here
yeah,
to you
yeah.
this is not a process you can do yourself.
No, yeah, I'm not a licensed visa specialist or whatever you have to be for that. So take it
We
with a grain
we
of
are
salt.
gonna talk to someone soon about it. I know the business manager visa. I don't know if you saw that news, Jay. Like you need to have a capital requirement of 200K US now to
Insane.
or maybe not now, but it's coming. So I
It's
think
coming
that's
soon. Oh,
big news.
hopefully
Um,
we're grandfathered in, because that's
yeah,
hefty.
it's hefty. All right, Jay, I have some actually construction specific stuff for you. You mentioned
Sure,
siding a
sure.
couple times. I know you work a lot on roofs. So let's say I'm putting the Akia searcher hat on. I'm on AkiyaMart. I'm looking around here. What are some like big red flags to look for, like big costs when looking at properties on AkiyaMart that may seem like a good deal that you have an opinion on?
Um, I like to say siding and roofs are very expensive, especially roofs. Nobody knows how to do roofs, right?
Mhm.
In relatively
But I love
speaking,
the
once you get to the
traditional
front end.
Japanese roofs, Jay. Like I love the
Yeah,
blue,
like,
the
you're
tiles.
not gonna figure it out, right? Like, if you're buying an IKEA and you don't know how to swing a hammer, you're not gonna figure out their roof system. Now, I'm a roofer in the States, and I'm even like, I don't know if I wanna do that. They're similar to, like, clay tile roofs here in the US. So roofs is a big thing. Make sure the roof is in good condition. Even if it has a couple breaks, it could be expensive to fix, and maybe you might not even find somebody who can fix it. That's a big thing, right? Depending on where you buy, can you even find the labor to do it? And if you can, it might be a wait or it's expensive. Siding is also very expensive, So make sure your siding is in good condition. Make sure it doesn't have holes, right? Mine's metal and it's rusted out, at least on the Bunsui property. So you got to replace it. When you touch it, it basically falls apart. And that can be very expensive. If you have a one-story smaller home, you can probably figure it out. But there's things like electrical that run on the outside of the property that you have taken off and put on. So you probably have to pay somebody to do it regardless. Exterior is a big thing, and avoid tile. Tile, even if you want to even if you want to DIY, tile is very hard to dispose of. You have to have industrial waste facilities around you or break it up into like tiny pieces and put it in these specialized bags, and it's extremely expensive. So avoid that. Yeah. And if you can have a system bath already in it, that's a big plus. System shower, um, and a not tile restroom, like toilet room.
Dang, I think like all the 1980s houses
Yeah,
had
they're all
that blue or
tile.
pink tile, which suck, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not too much, at least, I think. So,
Yeah.
It's
It's
interesting what you said. I don't know much about renovating tile, but our contractor in Beppu, he didn't even bother taking down the tile. He just like put something new right on top of it and like
yes.
waterproofed it. Is what he told
They
us.
put a they put a system over it, right? Like a system bath, just the panels right over?
No, we did something a little bit different. We put we actually we made it like a concrete box, but I thought he was gonna take the tile
Oh,
down, waterproof, and then put like a faux like some sort of concrete look on top of it. But he just concreted right on top of the tiles.
wow. Yeah, that,
oh,
geez, if I could find somebody to do that, that would be great, in the Bunsui property. The problem is Japanese are very perfectionists, right? Especially bigger companies like, the people that work with Masashi, they have a reputation to hold. So actually, what's funny enough is when they came to look at my shower room in my Bunsui property, they walked away. They said, "We can't do that." They looked at my
mm,
shower room. They looked at my kitchen, another beam that I had across. They looked at my siding. I had a separate siding contractor look at it. They looked at a bunch of things, and at the end of the day, they said, "Hey, we're just not going to touch your property because we think it's too hot of a mess." Right? That they're not going to be able to get it in the condition that they would love to see it in. So that is the one thing. If you have something that's in too bad of a condition, like nobody's probably going to want to touch it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
they want to be
agree.
proud of their work, and
Yeah.
if they can't do it, we had a little bit of a cowboy in for our property who just kind of yeah, quick and dirty.
He's
Which is
equivalent of
fine
the band
too.
guy though too. We
Oh,
didn't see him
I
haven't heard
mean,
from him,
at
but
least you
yeah,
got it. You got what you paid
uh,
for, right? Like,
it took 2 years and a lot of money, but we
oh,
have a
wow.
yeah. But all right, Jay, with a couple more questions before we wrap up here,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna send this consult or this podcast interview to people who are going to be booking consults with you. What kind of
Mhm.
things do you want them to come prepared into the conversation, or like how do they make the most of that consult? Again, usually it's only 30 minutes, but yeah, any advice for someone who's got time scheduled for you and wants to get the most out of that conversation?
Yeah, this should be a clip on its own. When you buy a property, you should have an idea of what the purpose of it is. Do you want to rent it out or do you want it as your vacation home? Because it can't be both. Generally, if you want a vacation home, you don't want to spend a lot of money. And if you want to rent it out, nobody's going to want to go to your vacation home that's far from train stations or whatever it may be. And sometimes, yeah, you don't have the money to buy something that's close to a train station. So if you're going to do either of those, you're better off buying it as a rental and getting in a prime location, although it's going to be more expensive. So know what your purpose is because it can't be both most of the time. Give me a second to think. I guess you could buy a property even if you want to rent it out in any part of the country. Like know your climate. The Surprisingly, you could drive 30 minutes and be in 10, 15 feet of snow. And on the other side of that 30 minutes, there could be 6 inches of snow. So just know your climate. Do you want to be in cold or warmer? Snow, whatever it may be.
S- Yeah, no joke in Niigata.
No, yeah, no. And what I just said, I could drive 30 minutes and be in 10, 15 feet of snow. So, yeah, if you can just give me a second. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's another big question that I get a lot, which is know your out the door budget, right? Like renovations are going to cost a lot more than you think.
Mhm.
So again, try and spend more upfront and try and plan for that. If you're going to renovate a property, expect to spend probably an extra 20 or 30K. If you can't do it yourself and you got to pay somebody to do it, it's probably what it's going to come out to.
Absolutely. Totally agree with all those points. Again, Jay, we really appreciate that you've been taking on the consults after me and Joey. And I think we felt the same, like having those conversations where someone comes in going like, hey Jay, where should I buy? You just flip the question back to them like, hey, what do you want, man? Like we
What is your
can't
purpose? Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, go ahead.
What do you
I was
like
going to
about Japan? Like,
exactly. And like this might be a controversial statement. I don't know, but I just always tell people Tokyo isn't Japan. And it is, and it's got its own things, but there's more to Japan than the big city. There's plenty of gratification of being in a smaller town where people almost value you more. In Tokyo, like, it's like being in New York. You're around
Hmm.
people all the time. You really aren't happy to be around people. It doesn't matter who they are. You're like, I'm sick of people. I mean, this is just my experience. It's like Tokyo's too crowded for me, and I think there's a little bit of a stigma of like it's overpopulated with tourists. So maybe
It's
Japanese
definitely
people aren't the
overpopulated.
happiest. Yeah, and so like
Yeah.
you might not be as welcomed as you think you're going to be, but when you go to these countryside towns, they're so loving and welcome, you know. And you can be in a big city that has 100,000 people, 1 million people, and still be, have everything you need, but have the gratification of like, I guess, more closeness to the culture and the people. That's my opinion.
Uh, Awesome, Jay. That's a really great point to end on. Jay, we really appreciate you again doing these consultations with us, being part of the team and being on the podcast. If you
For
see
sure. Thank
another
you guys.
30,000 2008 house, please let us know. But we are
Yeah, for
excited to
sure.
come visit you in Kashiwazaki soon.
Yeah, anytime you guys want to go, I have a home there and a van that you can very easily
Yeah,
use.
no way. We're not driving that, man. It's not yours.